Welcome. Can you believe it's the second week of July already? It's also the second week in our summer series of Being Relational. Hashtag 7 Ways, 7 Weeks. And this week, we're focused on the second way of being relational, which is being centered. Now, being centered, finding the center within, might have you say, is that like the Zen meditation prayer thing? Or you might say, oh no, I get it exactly. You've got to really work from within so you can be your best self externally. Being relational says yes to all. Being centered begins with your body and your mind. In conflict, we are all thrown into an experience that is mental, emotional, and physical. And that experience triggers our own personal reactivity. Where our brain, our prefrontal cortex, where logical thinking happens, gets hijacked in conflict because we literally do not get the oxygen that we need for our brains to function optimally. So let's think about a scenario. Maybe it's one that happened for you this week. You're at the grocery store. It's hot outside. Maybe you're in a hurry. You've got a great dinner party or barbecue happening at home. And you're third in line. And maybe 2 or 3 people behind you in line, let's just say as a woman with a screaming 2-year-old, gooey-nosed in the seat of her basket, her cart. And it's really creating quite a stir. And you find yourself aware that you're uncomfortable. Now, your mind might be racing things like personal reactivity. Oh my gosh, how could she bring her screaming 2-year-old to the store? And in the meantime, she's saying, stop it, stop it. And she begins to scream at her child even louder, like, no, can't you see we're going to be home? Do not do that, just be quiet. And you find yourself getting more agitated. You might even find yourself in judgment mode. Like, doesn't she know any better? Or maybe you want to step in and show her how to be a better parent. Or maybe you just get lost in a memory of when that happened to you, when you were mortified. Being centered is the awareness of our racing minds and when our bodies begin to feel uncomfortable. And being centered calls upon the breath. So imagine that scenario, you standing in line, and instead you take a deep belly breath, filling up this lower cavity of the body. You exhale, and you can do all of this with your eyes open. And that personal reactivity just got oxygen. And perhaps you now turn to the woman in line and you might say, some days are really tough with kids. How about if we trade places? Please take my spot in line. That's what being centered allows us to do in life. We can be relational in ways that are good for both ourselves and for the other. And just imagine that woman, her racing head and racing heart, and our ability to be calm in the face of her storm and our own allows her to pause and regain her own sense of center. So the breath is the gateway to being centered. Being centered is the second way of being relational as a means to quality interaction and lasting change. Good for you and also good for others, creating greater well-being. Have a great rest of the week.